Hey guys, welcome back to Grammar Lesson 5. We're really starting to get this stuff down now so you can actually write sentences that sound like human beings. So today we're going to work on linking verbs and subject complements. Your objective, as usual, is to define and recognize linking verbs and subject complements. And you've got to be able to put your money where your mouth is by diagramming sentences using those two things. So a linking verb. A linking verb links a subject to a noun, pronoun, or adjective that expresses something about the subject state of being. They're like equal signs, kind of like with words. Usually the linking verb is some form of to be. So you're taking a subject on the left, and then you're going to have something after the linking verb, and the linking verb is the little link between those. And that'll make a little bit more sense as we go on. What you may have to do is go forward a bit and then come back, look at the definition again as you get the examples, and sort of keep going back and forth till it all makes sense. That's kind of what I did. Subject complement. The subject complement is the word or phrase being linked to the subject via the linking verb. Subject complements describe or name the subject. Those are the big ones. They describe the subject or they name the subject, and they always come after a linking verb. So like in a diagram, a lot of times what we've done so far is if something is going to describe the subject, it's an adjective hanging off the subject, right? Like the awesome subject complement. Awesome would hang off of subject. But in this case, if you said the subject complement is awesome, is would be your linking verb, awesome would be the complement after it, and it would still describe subject complement. Let's take a look at what I mean. For examples, Jorge is impudent. So before we would say impudent Jorge did something is an action verb or something. But this whole sentence is just about telling us about Jorge's state of being, which is impudent. Cats are judgmental. So judgmental cats attack dogs. In this case, the sentence doesn't have an action. It's just expressing a state of being. What are cats like? They're judgmental. They are. R is like your equal sign. The dog has been depressed. Depressed describes the dog. Has been says that he's been depressed for a while and he still is. Now, linking verbs, and actually action verbs as well, but we'll get into that a little bit in more detail later. Depending on your verb tense, you may have more than one verb in a verb phrase, and they'll just go on the line. So has been is your present perfect tense, meaning it started in the past and it continues on and is still going on now. So if you say he is depressed, that tells us one thing. Has been tells us a slightly different kind of time. Francois feels funny. Now, feels is kind of a fun verb because it could be an action verb or it could be a linking verb depending on how you use it. If it's an action verb, then you're implying that funny is a noun and it's something that he's actually touching. Like, maybe funny is the name that he gave to his pet rabbit. So he's feeling the pet rabbit. But in this case, we're using it as a linking verb, saying that he feels funny. Like, I feel kind of weird. You know, like maybe he's got a bug or something. So Francois feels funny. It's still a basic thing of saying, like, funny is describing Francois. So because we've got a linking verb here, the adjective comes back to the subject. Mr. Worden is a teacher. This is different. These are adjective, 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 adjective. They all describe the subject. This one is a noun. Teacher is a thing, right? It's a common noun describing a person, a type of person. And it's naming me. So if you've got a noun that follows the linking verb, it works the same grammatically. It's just be aware that it's naming the subject rather than describing him. And you call it a predicate nominative, and we'll get to that in a second. This concept will be tricky. Linking verbs throw people off. That's why we're spending a whole day just on linking verbs and complements. Actually, really a whole week on it. So this concept will be tricky. This is your whole future tense, meaning it will be tricky once you start trying to do it in the future. Right now, you don't know whether it's tricky really or not because you haven't tried. Gettin Fancy. So there's two types of subject complements, or SC for short. The predicate adjective is basically an adjective that comes in the predicate and describes the subject. So it happens after the linking verb and it describes the subject. Predicate nominative. Oops, my autocorrect fixed that for me. Thanks very much, Apple. I'll have to put that back. It should be nominative, not nominate. A noun or pronoun that falls after a linking verb, which is used to name the subject. When you're diagramming them, they look exactly the same, so you don't actually really need to know this. It's just kind of another concept. If you get thrown off, you think, oh, I'm supposed to have adjectives here. You can use nouns and pronouns as well. It's just a predicate nominative instead of a predicate adjective. Write these down. Seriously, pause it. I don't know what you got to do. I mean, take the time. This should be in your journal, in your notes. You should be able to refer to this often. Put a big title on the top, common linking verbs. Until you have these memorized, you can just rattle them off, or you have the whole concept kind of down so well that it just makes perfect sense to you. Write it down, because sometimes you'll be like, ooh, what is that? Is it a preposition? Is that a linking verb? What am I looking at? So you can go back and check it out. Seriously, write them down. And they go from simple to more complex. And I mean, there's more than this, but this is like a good kind of cheat sheet starter list. And then sensory looking verbs like that looks pretty. Pretty describes that. This smells good. And of course, those can be action verbs as well. Like I look at the flower, in which case you're looking, like looking with my eyes, instead of saying it appears. If you say I grew calm, that means still calm is describing I. It's not like I'm growing 10 feet tall. I remain hopeful. So hopeful describes I. Remain is the linking verb between it. Those are kind of weird ones, but they still work. Diagramming. This is what it looks like. It's just like a subject, verb, object, only instead of an object, you've got a subject complement, and instead of an action verb, you've got a linking verb. And you keep this little line slants back, because when you've got the linking verb, I picture it this way. You've got somebody just push the subject complement, it hits the ramp, crash, lands on the subject there. So with a direct object, it's not actually affecting the subject. It's like the verb is affecting the direct object. So that's how you remember it. Straight up and down for direct object, slanted back towards the subject for subject complement, so it can complement its subject. So we'll try these out. Again, do it like we did last time. I will give you a split second. Sometimes I'll forget to pause, but pause me and try it on your own, and then watch the video and see whether you got it right. Okay? I was lost. Your subject is I. Your linking verb is was. And then slanty line, lost. Remember, like I said, it's like comes right back to tell you about I. It expresses my state of being there. Good. Can you hear the dog barking? I was lost. He felt foolish. Oh, one of those tricky ones. I'm getting tricky on the second example. That's probably not terribly friendly of me. Okay. Let's change colors. I'm getting sick of that one. What's my subject? He. What's describing he? What is he doing? He's feeling something, right? He's feeling an emotion. He's not feeling the wall to see if it's solid or hollow, but he's feeling something. So what is the sentence? I've already lost it because I've been talking about this stuff. He felt foolish? Yes, it was. He felt. There's our slanty line that points back to the subject. Foolish. And you could do it like in English. He felt a fool, and then put an A there. And just felt a fool. And then instead of a predicate adjective, we have a predicate nominative. He's naming the subject instead of describing it. Either one works. I mean, obviously, the sentence that I gave you is he felt foolish, so that's what you should use. But this lesson will be exciting. Okay. Subject, lesson. Verb. This is one of those verb phrases to show that it's future. Will be. And then, what will it be? Exciting. Now, technically, that's a participle, and there's rules about participles that come later on, but when it is a predicate adjective, it just goes on the line like that. Then, one last thing that we forgot, well, period there, and this. Because we know which lesson? This lesson. Not tomorrow's lesson, not yesterday's lesson. This lesson will be exciting. Jacob and Locke will be partners. So you probably all recognize the compound subject. Jacob. O before B. Jacob and Locke. Line goes there. Will be partners. Will be. And the period goes there. Good. Well, yeah, thanks. Complimenting myself. All right. Sawyer and Kate have been good friends and bitter enemies. Trying to bring our compounds back a little bit so we can. Okay. Sawyer, Kate, and actually it's going to a compound predicate, isn't it? So I don't really need to have a big long line there. Good friends and bitter enemies. Oh wait, no, I need the verb. Come on. And I know I'm going to have some adjectives to describe friends and enemies, so I'm giving myself extra space here. Have been. There's my verb. What are my nouns here? Friends and enemies, right? You couldn't, so what kind of friends are they? They're good friends and they're bitter enemies. So good has to hang off of friends and bitter has to hang off of enemies. Friends. Friends, good. Enemies. Good. Bitter. Sawyer and Kate have been good friends and bitter enemies. We have more? Elephants are loyal and inspiring. So we got a singular subject. Elephants are, simple verb, right? Are. What are they? Loyal and inspiring. Loyal. Inspiring. Elephants are, so your linking verb, subject, predicate adjective, linked with your compound, your coordinating conjunction, creating a compound predicate adjective. Now, if you missed class, you may have to do this on yourself, but basically you're going to make a poster, and in the middle of it is going to be your quick little story that's a paragraph, and the paragraph has to use all of these things. So you can have some sentences that repeat things, but you have to make sure that you can check off your action verb, linking verb, compound predicate, compound subject, compound noun, pronoun, adjective, adverb, at least 4 adverbs, because you've got to be able to modify a verb, an adjective, and an adverb. And an interjection, an imperative sentence, a direct object, an indirect object, and a subject complement. Refer to your notes to make sure you can do it. Okay. Enjoy.